let's look at cropping, and I've opened up Photoshop. As you look at it over here on the left-hand side, there's this little box. This little box stands for crop. When you've got that, it puts these little corners in up here. If you right-click on the screen, it gives you various ratios you can use. You can use a 1:1, which is square. You can use a 4:5, which is an 8:10. You can use a 5:7. 2:3 is 16:9. You can change or clear your ratio if you want. And we're going to try this on a 1:1, which is a square. And by doing that, you can see it already put it where it's 1:1. And what we want to do is bring these edges in to about the right spot. Now notice over here, I'm trying to leave a little gap, and I want to do the same sort of gap up on top. And if I take this center one and I pull it down, you can see that it's coming in on both edges. Don't want to do that. Want to come over here to the other edge, and this will pull it so that I can get the gap on top and the gap on the side about the same. If I come in down here, I can do that again. But in this particular case, I want to keep some of these trees in here. So the way to keep the trees in there means that I'm going to have to physically move this box. If I click on the outside, you see that little grid that comes up. When that grid comes up, you can grab this and you can move it. And I want to approximately center it in here. And when I do that, you can see that I might come back in and just reduce a little bit on the top over here, a little bit on the top over on this side. Maybe just go back up a hair to about where I want. And you can see when I do that, it gives me the size that I'm looking at. The other thing I want to do is I want to straighten this out, because you can see it's kind of tilted. When you look at this set of grid lines, and I get this grid line by left clicking on the background, and you can see over on the side, I've got that little arrow. All I got to do is take this and rotate it ever so slightly. And as I do that, I can get everything straight up and down. And once I got everything straight up and down, I release. Then I come in here and I right click on this, and it's going to say down here, crop. I press crop, and there's my picture. Then I come up over here to file. With the file, I go save as, and I put down whatever value I want on it. Okay. And once I do that, I can save it as a JPEG. I like to save them as PNGs because the PNG actually gives it a little bit more detail in the long run. So I save that. It's going to ask me about compression. I don't want it to compress it. And so I do that, and I've got my photo. That's one method. Another way is in PowerPoint. What I want to do is I want to come over. I want to insert my picture. This is going to take me to the place where I'm looking for my picture. This is the picture I had, and I just insert that picture, and when I insert that picture, it comes up like this. A couple of things to look at. When I've got this, it puts me over to the part that says format. On the part that says format, part of it over here says crop. It gives me my height and my width in here. So if I hit on the crop, you can see that these little parts in the corners and on the edges have changed. And if I pull on them, they will pull the respective part inwards, and it will give me a dark background on what I've got. Now I can pull this in about like that, and I can make it any which way I want. I can look over here on my height and my width to see if I've got it somewhat square. Another thing, if I copy this, and I've got two photographs, and I'm working with two photographs together, one of the things you can see is when I've got this photograph up next to the other one, there's this very light dotted line in there that helps me line things up so that I can make sure that my things are the same size. If I pull this down and I pull it back up, there's the dotted line. And that's one of the ways we often do it to make sure that everything fits in properly. Two different ways that you can actually crop these. And what you want to do is you want to take away the uninteresting part that you've got that is not necessary. Once you've got this done in there, if you wanted to increase it in size, you just grab the corners and you do the corners. If you do the center part without doing the corners, what it does is it stretches it, and it will give you a little bit different perspective. Here's a skinny balloon, here's a real fat balloon, and you'd have to go back to the way it should be in order to be able to have it right. When you crop photos, that's another way of doing it.